Fallout 3 has a plethora of outstanding and unique weapons, all with their own key advantages and differing stats. But today, we are asking which one of these weapons actually does the least amount of damage per second. Upon hearing that question, off the top of your head, you might assume that, well, I don't know, maybe the pole Q or how about 32 pistol? That's pretty bad, right? Dead wrong. Like, not even close. To put things into some more context, we're going to be going into more detail about weapons leading up to the worst DPS weapon. So the first thing we won't be covering is we're not going to be covering any like cut content or glitch weapons in this video, just weapons you can find out in the game world by normal means. Now, I do know that there is a cut Mirelurk grenade that does like no damage, but is technically something you can equip, throw, and like it does get enemies' attention. So we will be counting that. That would actually be the real one, but we're not dealing with that today. Starting things off, it's the 32 pistol. Alright, let's be real. We've all picked up this weapon our first playthrough, thinking it was going to be a really cool starting revolver, and then 5 seconds later, we are struggling to kill literally any enemy in the game. A bloatfly has now become a raid boss. Look, it easily has the lowest DPS of any small guns. I'm pretty sure. I know out of all the pistols it definitely is, and it has a whopping DPS of 18. For comparison, the plasma rifle has a DPS 10 times that, and that's not even accounting for the plasma rifle's above average crit chance and bonus crit damage. The 32 pistol has like just like normal crit rate and like doesn't even get double damage. Terrific. Now, here's a normally non-lethal weapon in the game, the pulse grenade. It does do damage. It does. It doesn't just do damage to robots. It does a little bit of AoE damage to all enemies. But what if I told you that if you got every damage modifier for explosives, demolitionist, rank 3, and bloody mess, that the pulse grenade would actually out DPS the 32 pistol? I lied. The actual DPS of the 32 pistol is an abysmal 7 to 8. It says like 7.5, and that's because it has a 2.5 second reload animation. So congratulations, 32 pistol. You're beat out by a weapon that's only supposed to work out on robots. How do you even manage that? Up next, it's the Humble Pull Q. It doesn't really fare too well on the DPS tier list, but I would just like to elaborate why that is rather than just saying, oh, I looked at the wiki, it has low DPS. To go into more specifics, it can't even get a critical hit. Like, it might say you get a critical hit, but it won't do bonus damage, I think, unless better criticals does add damage to it. I think sometimes it does, and I don't know why it does that. But secondly, it not only has like one of the lowest base damage per hit out of any melee weapon, it has the slowest swing speed in the game. So it hits for like no damage and takes forever to swing. You're just going to be knocked around by enemies constantly, not being able to block them and attack them back. And to just accumulate everything together of just how horribly underpowered the pull Q is, it's one of the most fragile melee weapons in the game. It only gets about 300 hits before going from 100% condition to 0% condition. And somehow it's actually not the least durable melee weapon in the game. We will be talking about that weapon up next. The weapon with the lowest condition in the game out of melee weapons is the toy knife. Now, I'm sure some of you were thinking of this weapon. It's infamous for its laughably low damage output and the fact that it's not even like a real weapon. But what's like horribly messed up about this weapon is that it somehow actually does way more damage than the 32 pistol and the pull Q. it's actually got a lot more going for it than some of the other weaker melee weapons in the game. Now, you might be asking, how does the toy knife, like, even compare to any other weapon in the game? And that's because whenever you get a critical hit with the weapon, it does 10 times its base damage, which is 1. So if you got every damage modifier and every like crit adjust and a max strength, max luck, and max melee weapons, you would not only out DPS the 32 pistol, you would out DPS the regular knife. So technically, the toy knife is actually superior to the knife in very specific scenarios. Like, I can't help but think that is the most funniest unintentional thing you could have ever done with a weapon. But realistically, it's probably going to take about 200 swings to even down a target. So congratulations, you were able to kill one enemy slightly faster than a regular knife. You could use literally anything else, like a police baton. Cool. Alright. Now, let's get down to some actual real contenders for the lowest DPS in the game. No pulling the rug underneath you, showing you just how horrible the 32 pistol is. It just gets shown up by even a toy knife. We're moving on to the Mesmetron. Now, out of any weapon that you actually shoot and reload, it is the worst at dealing raw damage numbers. It only does 1 damage per shot, and it can only attack once per 2 seconds as well. It can hit crits, it will say it hits a crit, but it doesn't do any damage, additional damage from its crit. However, it does have a really low % chance of blowing a target's head up. It's about a 20% chance. Now, I don't know if this works on super mutants. It might. On humanoid ghouls and regular humans, I definitely know it does. And that 20% will proc a little more often than you would think. So I guess it's maybe an insta-kill button. So it's probably better than the 32 pistol because it has a 20% chance of instantly killing an enclave soldier. So that's better. So I guess I lied. The 32 pistol is worse than the Mesmetron. Congratulations, 32 pistol. You're winning all the accolades. All the accolades. Amazing. Well, what could be worse than doing less than 1 damage per second, you might ask? Well, to answer that, we're going to have to head over to the Mothership Zeta expansion. Once on board, and after you've had Elliot go with you to the cryo lab, you can then ask him to have him make some cryo grenades and cryo mines. The AoE of these icy devices only deals 1 damage, and it can't be modified. So Demolitionist, no matter how much you rank it up, or Finesse, Bloody Mess, it does not increase its damage from 1. So we mentioned the cryo grenades and the cryo mines. So which one is actually the least lethal? And at second place, it's going to be the cryo grenades. Now this one is like a technicality. So if everything in the world went completely perfectly for the cryo grenade, it would do more damage per second than the mine. And that's because it can be thrown 0.7 times a second, while the mine can only be thrown once every second, or about every 2 seconds, my bad. So the actual rate of putting the weapon out is faster on the cryo grenade, but on the cryo mine, it is slower. However, the cryo mine, if you're point blank, as soon as it leaves your hand, it can explode on an enemy, while the cryo grenade actually has to either in bats instantly blow up on the target, or it will have to roll around the floor. So really, the cryo grenade is the worst DPS weapon in the game, but on a spreadsheet, the cryo mine does have the lowest DPS. So, if we were going to be using the lowest DPS weapon in the game, the cryo grenades, how long would that actually take to kill a Deathclaw? Now, as I mentioned, Elliot will be able to craft these cryo grenades and cryo mines for you. But he can only do it once every 3 hours. Now we're gonna have to figure out how many grenades it is actually going to take to kill a Deathclaw. Or mines, depending on which one you want to use. They do the same amount of damage. The mines do 1 damage, right? We established that. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. And a Deathclaw has 500 HP. So it's going to take, at bare minimum, 500 cryo grenades or 500 cryo mines. And at the rate of what they fire, it would take over 15 minutes to kill a single Deathclaw. But how would we even go about getting 500 grenades to begin with? Well, Elliot only gives you he only gives you 2 grenades every 3 hours. So that means it would take 750 hours or 31 days. So basically a month of in-game Fallout 3 time to kill a single Deathclaw. It would take a month of just waiting. That fantastic. If you really wanted to waste your time, yes, you could technically kill a Deathclaw with normal in-game means. You could actually just sit there and wait and get the grenades. Well, and there we have it, the definitive weapon with the lowest DPS in Fallout 3. I really hope you learned some interesting facts about Fallout 3 today. I know I sure did while researching this topic. I can't get over the toy knife doing more damage than the regular knife under very specific means. I think that is just the funniest shit in the world, that it even out DPS's the 32 pistol. A toy knife is more effective than an actual bullet. If you would like to see more trivia or any other content about Fallout 3 or even New Vegas, I know a lot about both of those games. Let me know down in the comments and I'll see the feedback on it and maybe I'll make some more. I definitely have a very strong passion with Fallout 3 and specifically, and I've always planned to cover this game in more detail and try to show some more strange oddities I've learned about playing this game for so long. Alrighty, well I hope you have a good rest of your day or a good night. See ya.